Hey guys, it's Heidi Potter, Purdue Extension, Clark County Agriculture and Natural Resources Educator, here to remind you, if you have not yet picked up one of our Grow With Us kits, you can find those at both the Floyd County office and the Clark County office, and it is not too late to start growing with us. The plants we're growing this year are lettuce and beets, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that. So we're finally getting some rain with a few thunderstorms, which has caused the beets to respond pretty positively, growing a little bit taller, nice green foliage. And so some of these beets that I planted a little bit earlier than what you probably got in the ground, some of these are ready to eat. So this one in particular, just so you can see the size of it, about hand size. Baseball size. That's a pretty good size. That's about 2 to 3 inches wide. A good sized beet is going to be a little bit more tender. Even younger beets. I have a few of those here. Let me show you in a second. Going to be a little more tender. This guy tucked back here. That's going to be a little more tender. But none of these have seen a frost yet. The cool thing about beets is they sweeten up with a frost. Have a little bit less of that dirt flavor, which can be helpful for those of us who don't particularly enjoy eating beets. And then of course, this foliage is still nice sized and excellent for eating sauteed in a pan. I also just want to contrast between the beets that have been thinned or properly spaced versus those that are still close together. They're smaller in size because they're competing for water and nutrients. And while they're going to be getting enough water now because of storms, it'd be good if I would thin some of them and let the others grow to proper size. So that's what's great about thinning. You can still thin. It's not too late to thin. That's a nice tasty little morsel right there. And then I'm leaving space behind for the rest of those plants to grow bigger. One of the advantages of thinning early on is that you're creating better airflow between plants. Okay? And when we have better airflow between plants, we're less likely to get disease. So I did not thin early on, and in fact these plants were kind of inundated with weeds for a little while. Once I got them uncovered though, I didn't thin, and so you see here I've got some disease. I identified that last week, and after looking at some research-based publications, I'm pretty sure I have Cercospora leaf spot. It's a fungus. Fungi really like the conditions we have here in southeast Indiana. We definitely have some humid evenings with afternoon thunderstorms. Plants go to bed with wet leaves, and those are ideal conditions for any sort of fungus to take hold. So the best thing I can do now is to make sure I'm thinning my plants, keeping that good airflow between the plants, and then maybe eating at a younger age rather than an older age. But at this point, I'm not going to spray anything on my plants. Fungicide might be an option if it were earlier on in life, but for the most part, Cercospora is not going to actually cause any sort of stunted growth in my plants.